My whole life, I grew up. So first of all, that's the conservative movement, right? If this is like one side,
You guys, that's
orthodoxy,
conservative with a big C.
the big C.
Within Judaism, if you ask Orthodox, they'll say, "Oh, the conservative, those are the liberals," right? That's where things are a bit
Right.
confusing.
Actually, conservative would be considered way more, I would say, religious in their understanding and their living of the law and reading from the Torah, right? So, like, you go to most conservative synagogues, they're going to probably do a full shachrit, a full Pesukei de Zimra, a full service, a Torah service with in Musaf. Like, they're going to do it, right? And the thing too about conservative music is probably, I don't know when it changed. I need to do my research because I want to do my thesis on like Jewish music.
Oh,
Um,
I love
but one of the things that changed is they said they approved that you can have music on Shabbat. And so actually one of my teachers who I used to be mentored by a man named Craig Taubman. He went to Temple Sinai, where I'm actually leading services at Temple Sinai in Los Angeles there this fall. I'm
it. Oh,
coming
wow.
up. But Craig Taubman started something called Friday Night Live. Friday Night Live is like, it was like a Christian worship service, but this was like 20 years ago, something like that. And he started bringing in great musicians on a Friday night. And you had David Wolpe, who you all know. I don't know if you ever had him on your show.
I don't know who that is.
So
I
David Wolpe is
apologize.
like a really, really well-known. He's one of the most world-renowned conservative rabbis who's ever lived. He's a
Okay.
very prolific. He used
I've
to.
been to a conservative service maybe a dozen times in my life, and there was never music. So I don't have, I apologize for not having enough experience
It's
with
okay.
either conservative or reform, to be honest with
It's
you.
probably a good thing for your listeners too.
Yeah.
So the
So let me
conservative.
ask you something. If there's listeners in Los Angeles, can they come to the service, let's say, even if they're not Jewish, or do you have to be Jewish? Do you have to be a member? How does that work? Like, I
No. I
literally
mean,
don't know.
it's the same in Chabad too, in Orthodox circles. You could just anyone. You could walk into a shul. Even if I go to Pico Robertson and I go daven at the Happy Minion, they're not going to say, "Are you Jewish or not?"
Okay.
Like at any of these, it doesn't matter if you're Orthodox, conservative, reform. I've never been to a service people say, "Hey, are you Jewish?" Like usually people just like come in, be with us, right? So
Okay.
so that's the conservative movement is like there, and then the reform world, it's a little bit different, right? It's a little more radical and different. It's still egalitarian. People are still, but the halakha kind of changes depending on the movement. But that's that. And then you have the conservative, then you have the Reconstructionist movement, which came off the conservative movement. And then you have the renewal movement. So there's all these other liberal kind of branches that aren't orthodox that like where you walk in and music is a part of the everyday service. But when you
Hmm.
go to certain orthodox circles, especially Haredi circles, and even like really Hasidic circles in some of the sects, you're right. There's, especially in Shabbat, there's no using instruments because, right, they say that if you break it, you break a string or you're fixing or you're playing and you're gonna.
So just to be clear for the audience,
Right.
in the Orthodox and certainly the ultra Orthodox world, it's actually forbidden to even hold an instrument or touch an instrument, let alone to use it on Shabbat. So if they have music, it's going to be entirely vocal. So
Right.
like we had someone on the podcast who was doing, um, he was doing like rap and he's not a musician, right? He's a scholar, right? But he was doing rap of ancient Hebrew poetry in an Orthodox service. But that's extremely unusual, right? It was
Right.
unusual enough where I'm like, let's have this guy on because I've never heard anything like this.
And who was it?
Gabriel Wasserman. He is probably the top scholar in the world on ancient piyut, ancient liturgical poetry.
Love Piyut. Yeah. So yeah, the world that I'm immersed in, right? The world that I'm immersed in, I see because I daven and w- basically have been in rooms with either, Litvak Jews, which are, you know, Litvak and Hasidic, who are very different. These are very different people, and Haredi rooms, and Breslov, and Renewal, and like I have seen it all. I've seen the gambit.
Wow.
I've been in the rooms, and I actually my melodies that I've written are sang across denominations. Like,
Wow.
are
What's an example of something I once had on the program? Rabbi Twersky.
mm,
You know the song Hoshia Edamecha? He wrote that, which I'm
I,
like, how is it you wrote that? I grew up singing that. That's been around forever. He's like, no, I wrote that, and he sang it for us, or I don't know if he sang it or it's been a while. It's before he
you
passed
mean
away.
you mean the Hoshea, Hoshea, Hoshea? No, that's Moshiach.
No,
Moshiach.
that's something else. Hoshia et amecha, uvarech et nachlatecha.
Right, right.
Murray, 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 Murray. Right. So guys, you don't want to hear me sing. We want to hear Mikey
Moshiach,
sing.
not Moshiach.
Believe me. But yeah, he was an older rabbi, right? And he passed away, I think, in the last few years. And he actually was the author. So what are some songs that are sung across denominations that can you play one for us?
I can, like I was saying, it's a little challenging right now
So
with
guys, I want to encourage he's gonna sing something for us, hopefully in a little bit.
yeah.
Go and find his I don't know, where do you get your music? I don't listen to music, I'll just be really honest with you. Where do you get music these days?
You
Where
get
they
my
can
music anywhere. You can Google me and you can get it on any major DSP, Spotify, Apple Music, uh,
beautiful. Guys,
anywhere.
go buy his music and support what he's doing because we don't have enough devotional Jewish music. I'll just say it. Um, in my view, I feel like we don't have enough. Like, I mean, you could I mean, Christian, and it's interesting. So I want to maybe talk about this for a minute. Like, in other words, I think that you could have some Orthodox who will hear this, or maybe ultra Orthodox, and say, you Jews are being influenced by Christians because we don't do devotional music. And you drew the parallel. This was something when the Reform movement was founded in the 1800s. This was a big issue. They said we want to have music in our synagogues like the Christians do, and the critique, and they had eventually organs. Why organs? Because that's what the Germans did. It was in Germany. That's what the Lutherans were doing. And the critique was, no, that's what Christians do. And the response was, what do you mean? Psalm 150 is a list of lots of different musical instruments, right? Praise God with the timbre and the lyre, and I don't even know how to pronounce all these words, right? And the cymbals and right, Nevel and Kinol in Hebrew, right? So there's all these different musical instruments that they're using. And why don't we use that? There's various historical reasons. Like I said, some people say it's because the temple was destroyed and we shouldn't be happy when the temple's okay. But it's been 2,000 years. Can we have devotional music where we worship God? I love that.
And we're also in a new time too. I just was in Israel this summer. I was on a
Yeah.
rabbinical trip, and Shavuot happened. Beautiful, beautiful, amazing holiday doing it in Jerusalem. I had such an incredible evening, and we ended up in the morning at the Temple Mount. I was up there
Wow.
doing Shachrit, and
Wait, you
I'm
have to
telling
tell us
you
about
this,
this.
and I'll tell you about this. When I was
Yeah.
there in 2012, and my rabbi said to me, "Mikey, don't go up to the Mount. It's just not safe." When we went up there a long, long, long time ago, um, they would not allow you to move your mouth. You
I
could
remember someone was arrested for moving his lips silently
Yeah,
back in
that's not what's
Hilton time.
happening right now. I mean,
Wow.
we went up and we davened a full shachri up on the side. Like we walked in and we did like a full 40 minutes. They let us pray there. We did
So
a
Shachrit, guys, is the morning prayer. And this is like in a formal minyan and like a formal, like what they
full,
call it,
there were probably
quorum.
50 people screaming out to
Wow.
God. We were prostrating ourselves on the ground, prostrating ourselves. And the Shalosh Regalim service is a certain Shalosh Regalim happen on very specific holidays. And it's a musical mode when like it happens on very specific like things like Pesach and Shavuot. But it was like a really beautiful service that happened.
Wow.
And I gotta say, like, because it seems to me things are changing up there, there's something going on. And it's funny, like, it's not really talked on the media very much about what's happening up there, but it seems that the governing forces up there are protecting the Jewish people to pray and are one of our most holy ancient pilgrimage sites. It is. It's the place where uh, Abraham bound Isaac. It's like this is Mount Moriah. This is like the place. So um, and because of that, right, it seems that we're in a time of, if you even look at it, like the climate change, the changes, the floods, the days of darkness, the fires. Like it seems like we're in a period of time unlike any other. And I would say that we're in a time of the Moshiach. Like we're in a time of something's happening.